Girl, it's the lip bar. Hey y'all, it's your girl Millichun. I'm sorry. Hey y'all, it's your girl Millichun. First of all, thank you all for being here today. On this Saturday for any time you spend with us. I appreciate it. I have Ebony, the fly aunt. She is back. She is my love and relationship person that I do things with. And I'm introducing you all to a new person. This is Coach Diz. He is a motivational coach. And today give us some he's going to give us like a balance. So I love the things that he has to say. He brings a balance in this conversation because I didn't want it to be one-sided. And I appreciate you being here, Diz. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you for having me.
Thank you for being the man witch today.
I know.
I saw you put that out there, Ebony. I much okay.
So today, people, hello, Yvonne. Today, people, we're going to talk about Gail Lewis. We're going to talk about some other things that happen in relationships, but we're going to get started with expectations in relationships. So this is like it's a trying out period. We'll see how this goes, and we're going to go with it. So expectations in a relationship. Who has more, women or men? I think it would be women if I'm answering.
I would say women.
Okay.
But in addition, I think we should differentiate. Should there be different expectations for just regular relationships and then you have marriage? Do you think it should be a differentiation between the two?
I don't think men see a difference. Do you?
What you think, Dave?
Okay, so I think that is a continuing conversation, right? The problem is that usually when we meet people, they don't meet us; they meet our representatives.
Right.
So we don't have those real conversations about what we expect in a relationship. We have surface conversations, and I'm going to be quite frank with you. Most men, they're not having conversations to get to know you. They're having fact-finding mission conversations so that their representative can become who you claimed you want to be in that relationship, right?
Okay. I love you said that. You came with the honesty right off the top, because I always say to my friends when we're talking, when you're meeting somebody, you're meeting their representative.
Yeah.
The best version that they want to expose to you. So I'm glad that you confirmed that for me.
Yeah. I mean but to be fair, as men, we're meeting women's representatives too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
I feel like women.
But the problem comes is that women, and I don't get outside your body real quick. But women are emotional, right? So they'll drop their representation a lot quicker than a man will, and become more emotionally invested before a man will.
Okay.
I agree with that. I think that as far as expectations go, I think we all have great expectations at the initial meet. If it's your representative or whomever you bring in to the table. And I think expectations change as the relationship goes, because I feel like sometimes it's off balance because you have these expectations and then at some point, like you said, the representative leaves and the real person gets here and those expectations change a lot. So now you got somebody looking like, well, who are you? Where's the person that I met 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
So
sometimes representatives can play the long game too. So I'm glad you said 2 years ago, not like 2 weeks or 2 months ago.
No, it's definitely some years. It's definitely some time in the game. Yeah, sometimes people don't have longevity.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't have longevity. Like if it's difficult not being yourself all the time. Mm-hmm. So when you are forced, you get a moment when you're like, I can't do this anymore. Mm-hmm. Whether it be in a relationship where you come in and your hair is done and your makeup is done, but in your real regular life, you just put in a ponytail and just, you got Vaseline on your face. But this is who he met, and this is what he expects.
See now, I'm a realist, like, and I guess I've been kind of outside the box for a while because even in my 20s, I would want to see who you were because I don't want to wake up after say like on a honeymoon and be like, who the hell are you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
ain't what I would want. I would want to see that like early on, like, yo, let me see what you look. Because, quick funny story, there was a young lady that I was feeling in high school, right? And she was what I thought. I mean, she wasn't ugly without makeup, but she definitely looked different. Went to go. We worked together, so we said, "Yo, we ain't working this Saturday. Let's go hang out. Blah blah blah. Whatever." I get to her house to pick up. She wasn't ready. She opens the door. I'm like, "Yo, I'm here to see X Y Z. I ain't gonna throw her name out." And she said, "Boy, it's me. Quit playing." I'm like, "Oh wow." You
She
know what I'm
looked
saying?
that different that you didn't
Threw
know
me
you
off.
picking up.
Threw me off. Now, like I said, she wasn't ugly. She wasn't strong in the face, but she looked different. That strong in the face comment got you.
Oh my god! But you know, but that's what I'm talking about. Like I think expectations change, and with expectations changing, the person changes, which leads me into my next topic. Like, when does communication begin to lack in a relationship, and when do you kind of think about venturing out of the relationship?
In the beginning,
In the beginning. In the beginning of
communication
what?
is
The relationship?
the beginning. Because, like I said, if you're not a communicator and if you're on a fact finding mission, your communication isn't authentic. As a man, I'm speaking from a man's point of view. I can't speak for a
Okay.
woman because I've never been one.
Okay.
So, from a man's perspective, most men are not being honest in the door. So, they're having surface conversations because really they're trying to find out about you without divulging much of themselves. Because if you think about it, you all really talk too much in the beginning. Like when a man says,
I
well,
agree.
tell me, when a man says, tell me about yourself, right? You all will give the entire blueprint of what it takes to woo you, right? Instead of having that man figure it out. So instead of him having to work, put in a little work,
He
you done
playing
already
to a
told
part.
you done already told him
Yeah, you
what to
done
do.
gave
So
him the game
now
Yeah,
his
already.
yeah.
representative can morph into that.
Yep.
And eventually he's gonna get tired of putting up that front and he's gonna say, you know what? And then that's when you all get to the point where, well, who is this dude? Well, that's who he was. And you would have probably seen it sooner had you not ran your mouth. Instead of telling him, oh, I like to travel, I like to go eat, I like to do this, that, and that. Like, you know what, me and my girls like to hang out and have a good time. And just leave it at that. And let him figure out what the hell a good time is.
Okay, we should have talked about 20 years ago. Because that is so true. And we do that. We overshare so much.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think, I'll speak personally, I think to to say these things to get it like, this is what I don't want. So, in a way, we're saying this is what we've been through, this is what we've had, but this is what we don't want anymore.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But when you all are listening to it, you're listening to it as, okay, she's been through this, he's done this to her, I can ease up like this. This is what I do.
Exactly.
Right. And we need to be more focused on what we want,
Right.
not what we don't want. I think a lot of people know what it is that they don't want, but they haven't
Mm-hmm.
took the time to sit down and think about, what do I really want from another person? It's
See,
not the tangible things,
and let
not
me put this out there.
purses or paying my bills. What do you want from another person?
And I
And then
don't think people
another,
know the answer all the time.
right. What do you want from me? I want somebody that's supportive, that's gonna play in the background, allow me to be the star.
And
I
you know
want
what?
somebody
That's
that
big.
when
That's
I'm down
big.
can lift me up.
That's big.
That's what I'm looking for.
But then
And
what if you get a representative, Ebony, that
oh,
says,
you'll know.
I
I
can
think
do
you'll
that.
know if you I found later in life listening more than talking more has done wonders for me.
Not only that, but I don't like I hear what you say, but I watch what you do.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you can tell me whatever you want to tell me, but I'm gonna watch how you move. You know what I'm saying? Because that's gonna tell me whether or not you can handle what I'm saying. Let me just say this to what any dudes that may be listening. Because I had this, because you know, Mill, like I did the whole little truth and logic thing with David and Michelle for like
Mhm.
6 years. And I
Mhm.
would have dudes jumping at like, man, you giving away the game, blah, blah, blah. This, that. Let's be clear. If a woman is into you, ain't nothing I'm saying gonna matter, because she's gonna make up every excuse as to why what I'm saying don't apply to you.
Right.
So if anything I say can sway a woman that you're with or interested in, she ain't rocking with you no way, clown. So let it be what
That's
it's gonna
right.
be. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Okay, ladies
Absolutely
and
correct.
gentlemen, there you go.
You know.
I love what.
Also too, also too, when here are examples of fact finding questions versus actual getting to know you questions.
Hmm.
Fact finding question. Tell me about yourself, right?
Hmm.
Getting to know you question. So what do you do for a living? A getting to know you question. Um, you know, like we're grown, so I mean, eventually your favorite color, something might come up,
Mhm.
but you know, we're asking specific questions about you, not general questions, which will allow you to just run with the conversation.
Right. So
Because
those
when you
open
run with the
ended,
conversation,
so
because when
kind
you
of avoid those open ended questions.
when they if they ask you an open ended question, it's not wrong for you to flip it back on them,
Right.
because in the beginning of a relationship, you still want to guard yourself from the representative, and that's where a lot of people get it mixed up, men and women. If they get it mixed up, is because they forget that they're talking to a representative.
Okay, we have a question. What does someone lifting you up look like? People always say that, but nobody is clear on that. I also think it's different meanings from people. I think what lifting someone up is kind of like what Ebony did say. Like just kind of be there for me, like or just to be a listening person. Because sometimes you have so much going on, and you really need to get it out. And then if I'm coming to you with that, I really don't care about what you have going on today, because I need to get this out. And if you disturb me while I'm trying to vent and I'm trying to get myself in an even place, and you wanna tell me what's going on with you, I mean, I'll listen to you, but right now I need you to hear me. I think now for
Time and
me,
place for
that's a
everything,
lift
right?
up.
There's a time and place for everything. That's basically what you're saying. Is
Yeah.
why you vent? It's not my time to vent. It's basically
But what
Right.
what
does
you're
it
saying.
look like? But what does it look like? What does someone lifting you up look like? For
Well, I
me,
think for everybody, I agree with the commenter. It is different for everybody. So my thing is my clear expectation when I'm referring to just lifting me up, that just means for me, I could be sad, I could be down, and I just need you to be supportive. Tell me it's gonna be okay,
mhm.
or offer some solutions to the problem.
or,
You
or
don't have to.
or just do something behind the scenes and fix it, and then I don't even, and when I walk in the door, I'm like, oh my god, thank you.
Well, you know what?
That's a
I mean,
very high expectation, Millichun. I'm
It
just gonna
is.
tell you.
It is. And it's
but you
okay.
know what?
Those are my expectations.
If we keep it a buck, right? Being there for somebody is basically keeping it real, because real recognizes real, and there are a lot of things going on in relationships that are unfamiliar, right?
Yeah.
So if being there for you means to support you, then it means I have to support you 100% unequivocally. It's like it doesn't matter whether or not it benefits me or not. I support you because why? I
Right.
rock with you. And now let's keep it 100. It doesn't matter whether we're romantic or not. I see your hand, and we're gonna get to the lady in the back in just a minute. But it doesn't matter whether or not we're intimate or not. If we're friends
Yeah.
and I rock with you, I may not see your vision, but guess what? It's not meant for me to see it because it's your vision, but I'm going to support that,
But
right?
that's the thing, the word support. What happens when I'm explaining this to you and I don't get the support? What if I just need to do my thing
If if
and
if
you
some
just
if
support?
if someone okay, well, if someone can't support you, then what do you think it means? I mean, because I mean, you know the answer. Most
Because
people
even
know
if
the answer
I
to the
mean,
questions that they ask.
And my
Because
whole
here's the
thing is
reality:
trying to filter it
if I
out.
rock with you, right,
Right.
and you say I'm getting ready to do X, Y, Z, I may not understand it, I may not feel it, I'll be like, but I'm gonna be like, all right, let's see where this goes. You know what I'm saying? That's support, and whatever you need me to do to for that support, if you need space, I'm gonna give you that space. If
Mm-hmm.
you need me to come closer, I'll be there for you for that. If you
Right.
say I need whatever you need to get to where you need to get to is what I'm gonna do.
But how is it? Well, sometimes you can say that. I mean, I'm not saying I know people who have made those requests, right?
Hmm.
Okay.
And a person may not be able to handle that. Like if you're asking for support, you're asking for quiet time, or you're doing this, and it's like they feel like, okay, I can do this right now, but how long I'm gonna need you? How
It,
long?
it 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 doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because
I
here's the
don't
it,
know. I don't know how long.
no, what I'm exactly. And what I'm saying is that it doesn't matter how long it takes, how much time you need, because the bottom line is that whenever you need me, I'm here, right? And if I can't see that, then the relationship, no matter what level it is, friendship, romantic, whatever, intimate, whatever level the relationship is on, it doesn't matter because it's not about you, it's about me.
Okay.
I was just gonna
Right.
say that
So
that has
if I
been a
can't
lot.
give you what you need, then the relationship ain't about you no way. It's about me.
Okay.
And I also would like to throw in too. That's a lot people. When I say like how to play the background and just let me be me. I think that factors into that too. Like people, when you doing what we do, right? You
Mhm.
have to understand too that there's gonna be times that I just need to primarily focus on this, and you have to be okay with entertaining yourself.
Right.
Go over there to the corner and watch TV. I'll be there in a minute.
And like right here, it says that you have to be able to teach and tell people how to support you and be
Yes.
supportive in your life.
That's a communication thing.
Yep.
So let me go to the next one. We talked about expectations, communications, and relationships. Um, why don't men check in? Right? For me, I will say I remember I was in counseling with my ex-husband at the time, and the counselor said, well, something like, how do you feel about her? His response was, she knows I love her. And we were sitting there in silence because we were waiting for him to finish the sentence.
Right.
But that was the end of the sentence because him saying he loves me was it,
Mm.
right? So
But
him
did
not,
he say he love you? He said she
yeah,
knows I
yeah,
love her.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I knew that. I knew how he felt or whatever. But
Okay.
my thing was, you didn't. She said, "Are you checking in with her? Are you questioning her? Are you asking her why is she like this?" I've always told people, um, after my experiences, what I learned is that 5 years after you marry a person, 3 years after you marry someone, that person no longer exists, right? And you can't treat me, talk to me like I'm that person at the altar entering into holy matrimony because 3 years later, anything could happen. I could be more successful, I could be less successful, I could be changing jobs, which it could be a shift. You know what I'm saying? And I think
Mhm.
people need to learn how to adapt and grow with each other for longevity.
I have a
So,
question,
uh-huh.
right? So based on that, the person the do you think the like when you get married, because I've never been married, right?
Hmm.
When you get married, do you have the expectation that do you think that this person is going to stay the same?
I did. I thought that the love, the relationship, the marriage, I thought that we would just grow old together. And that meant we're working, we're traveling, we're paying bills, we're having children, we're having vacations, we're having holidays, we got weddings, graduations, and then we're, like that. I didn't Now today I realize that maybe you lose your job. Maybe you get a raise. Maybe you just like, I need to kind of check in with my girlfriends.
Okay.
People have to change.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like you get older. People feel different when they get older,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
You feel different. You feel like sometimes you feel like I need some time to
I'm
myself.
pulling mill. I'm pulling mill.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So that's a community because we're talking about why dudes don't check in, right? Okay. So first of all, the first issue is that communication is not something that men are taught to do typically,
Okay.
right? So checking in, it involves communicating, right? The problem is that we need to learn to communicate, and that needs to start with our parents. So we need to do a better job of being the change that we want to see with our
Right.
kids, teaching our men how to communicate.
Mhm.
For
Yeah.
those of us who are already grown, that's what counseling comes in, and that's like a taboo subject when it comes to black men,
Mhm. Yeah.
right? Now, me personally, I grew up with my mother, not my father.
Mhm.
So I've always kind of, I'm not gonna say I was the best communicator. I'm not even gonna sit here and lie to you like that. But I evolved into a pretty good communicator because I was open. One of the things I got going for me is that I'm probably a little too honest at times. So going to therapy was nothing for me, right? So whereas for my wife, it was like pulling teeth. She was, you know what I'm saying? Like because she was the one holding on to things and not wanting to share, right?
Okay.
So, but for most men, that's the issue. They don't want to share. They don't because
Okay.
they feel like number one, it makes them weak. It makes them soft. Whatever the case may
Mhm.
be,
Mhm.
and we need to understand that we're not in competition or in a battle with this woman that we claim that we love, right?
Mm.
Okay.
So, and also change. There were studies done psychologically. The human condition changes every 5 to 7 years. You will not be the same person 5 to 7 years from now that you are today. It's just it's not possible
Let me
because
say this. Let me say this because May said, "Should nothing change in their marriage but the marriage but the last name?" Are you
mm,
saying nothing should change but the last name, or yeah,
should
things
I,
should change just by what he just said?
well I think that again no I believe that yeah the last name should change but again as because although we're married we're still two individuals. We're
Right.
going to change. We need to have conversations about those changes, about my ideologies, your ideologies, how you're feeling, what I'm feeling. You know, things that you might see. You may go into a marriage and you're an accountant and she's a doctor, and it could come up 5 years from now as the accountant. You say, you know what, I want to go to law school, but that includes me leaving my accounting practice. Is
Mhm.
she gonna be cool with that? Or you could say, I mean, she could. This is an actual conversation. My wife was a pediatric nurse at one point. She said, you know what? I don't want to work. I want to take care of my own kids because I'm tired of sending them to daycare. I didn't even really think about it. I said, all right, well, whatever, we'll figure it out.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Now, based on seeing me bust my ass doing what I was doing to make it happen, is what led her into another career that she did for 12 years, which was a home daycare, which actually was killing me financially. When I say killing me, I mean she was dog walking me salary wise. But like she did it for 12 years. I want to say for like 8 of them, she was like balling. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
Okay.
she fell into that. You know what I'm saying? But we had to have those conversations. A lot of people won't have the conversation. What they'll do is they'll sit on what they want to do and then
Yeah.
accuse you of holding them back because, well, if it wasn't for you, I would have done this. Well, why didn't we talk about it? Perhaps we could have did it. You
Okay.
know,
Mm.
Okay.
That's a
All right.
very valid point. That's a
That is valid.
very valid point.
And I think we're not lost on the fact that regardless if you are a great communicator or not, communication is big on everybody's list. We always, if we don't talk, we always want someone to talk to us.
it's
We want to,
evolving.
yeah,
Communication
we
is
want to know what's
evolving.
on your mind. We want, eventually sometimes it comes out, but sometimes people don't feel comfortable, or how would they be received, things like that. So you got to work through things like that. Um, The next thing I want to get into before we get into Gail, because Gail is next up. Um, do faithful women, girlfriends, do you think that they ever think about cheating? Do you think that?
Are
I
you
mean,
talking
a,
to, am
a
I
wo-
first on it?
wait a minute. A woman faithful. I'm married to my husband. Is all I see. You see men. You know he's handsome. What would? Because it seems like it's really easy. I was listening to. I'm rewatching Married to Medicine, and there was a moment with the dentist and her husband Damon, and he was saying that he sees women all the time. And she said, well, what would you do if I cheated? Would you leave? He was like, yes, I would leave because that's unnatural. He said unnatural
Of
because
course he
there's
did.
there's just no way you would cheat on me. But there's times when I feel like it's times when women, I think men don't. I guess they think that that is so natural for men to cheat, and it's not. It's just what they say the way our world is. But when a woman cheats, it's like the end of the earth. So I think they think about it. Some people don't go through with it just because of how he may feel. Now, how he's made her feel, it's flowers. I'm sorry, I won't do this again. Whatever. But then it's a little different when it's a woman. I think women think about cheating. 100%.
I agree. I definitely think women think about cheating. Me personally, I done had a couple hot dreams about some hot guys
No,
and
I agree.
taking that bull down. Yes, absolutely. Yes, honey. I done thought
Not the
about it, honey.
bull.
What
You
the hell
know,
did I walk into?
but I do believe too that I do believe that of course, temptation is always out there. It's a thing. We the first thing that I think we see is, for the most part, is, well, is this person attractive? You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's not an unnatural thing to maybe fantasize, but and then if you roll into obsession, that's something different. But I do think that maybe it's even like a little healthy to maybe like think about somebody else.
Yep. What you
What do
think?
you think, Coach?
What you got, Coach Dennis?
I think y'all like two runaway slaves. Y'all off the chain.
No, it's just a
Did you
question.
just read
I
me?
Okay,
heard,
so
Did
I
you
heard,
just read me?
I heard this somewhere, and that's why I wanted to bring this topic up, right?
so
Because
no, I do believe. First of all, as a man, anything I think a woman gonna think to. You know,
okay,
I think that we think about it differently, like because of the way we're wired. So when a man sees a nice looking woman, bodied up, whatever, he might be like, "Damn, she fine," and immediately go to something physical. I
Mhm.
think that most women, because don't get me wrong, I've heard some women, uh, look at dudes and be like, "He'll get it," whatever.
Mhm.
But I think that most women will look at an attractive man and be like, "Oh, he's attractive," and leave it at that.
Mhm.
Right now,
yeah,
here's what I think, because again, women are wired different. Men are physical. I think women are emotional, and so we're attracted by what we see versus women are attracted by what they feel.
okay,
So I
Mm.
think that a man will see a woman and think about stepping out because of what he has seen, right? A
Mm.
woman will see a man and think about stepping out based on what she is feeling,
okay,
right? From the guy that she's talking about dipping out on, and from the guy that she's talking about dipping to.
okay.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
I
So
think
because
that was
there are a
well
lot of
put.
factors. There are a lot of factors when a
Yeah,
woman
yeah, yeah,
decides
yeah.
to
yes,
when a woman decides to dip out. Yo, trust and believe. It's been in the making.
I
Women ain't
think that
like
should be
dudes.
the
Like dudes that do things by the seat of their pants, like drop of the hat, is spur of the moment. Women have thought about this. They can put some thought into it.
I'm gonna let you go, E. But look, let me say this. I get this from like the Country Wayne situation when he was talking to Shannon and he was saying, women like men, like they want something different. If you're not doing, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, because she can be herself.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly probably get to know something about herself.
Mm-hmm.
But
Or
how does that work? Like if you, if
or
you
that other person may see something in her
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that she's
and
kind of been feeling, and he pulls that confirmation out of her too as well.
yes.
And
And
it
now
does go back to what he says about feeling.
so what
Well,
do you do? What are you supposed to do when you got all this and then you got some stuff you didn't even know you had?
well, I mean, first of all, you have a lot of people, you have a lot of women that when they hear about men dipping out, what do they say? Well, why ain't you just leave? Right?
Yeah.
Yep, yep,
Right? So let's turn the question back on the women and why you ain't just leave. Since you can't be yourself, why you ain't just leave?
yep.
But here's the reality of it. A lot of if you can't be yourself around your dude, it's because he's expressed to you that you can't be yourself, right? And let's talk about sexually. There may be some things sexually you into that you be like, he gonna look at me sideways if I do this. Well, the only reason why he looking at you sideways is because he was doing it with the other women, and he thinks that his woman ain't supposed to do that, right?
Ooh,
Which is the reality of it is like, yo, nah, you my woman, I want you to do that. You know what I'm saying? I need you to do that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's going to, I'm just saying. I'm
That's
okay.
just
a
saying.
great
I'm just
point.
going to
Because
throw it
even
out there.
my uncle has told me, he's like, you have to understand, like when I would go to him with certain scenarios, he's like, you have to understand men are visual.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So if you step out, right, why a man, and it goes back to, why we say men, if a woman cheats, it's the end of the world and it's so big and it's dramatic.
Mhm.
It's because you guys are visual creatures. And in your mind, you're imagining the stuff that we do together that I done did with this other man.
And then some. And then some because we get
Because
real.
Shannon almost had he went through some
Because we
bullshit.
get real. Let me tell you something. That thought process gets real vivid. But I'm going to
Okay.
tell you why. Because women, I mean, not to say it doesn't hurt women the same or
Of course,
whatever,
of course,
but
of
I
course.
can't be a woman. I've never been one. But I know as a man, most men that I've talked to who have lost their damn minds
Hmm.
about their woman cheating is because, and they haven't voiced it like this, but it all comes down to this in one way, shape, or form. Sex for a woman is invasive. You have to enter into a
Right.
woman,
Right.
right? So that's what they're thinking about.
Oh,
That's
the
what they're thinking
caveman.
about,
Oh yeah,
right?
the caveman
And
of it all.
so the invasion part of it is like, yo, it's like, think about this. If you never had your house broken into, how would you feel if you come
A
home and you
violation.
see that somebody has been in your house? You
Right.
like the fuck, So
It's a big violation.
It's a big
yeah,
violation.
Okay.
Okay, that makes a
I
lot of
received
sense.
that. Yeah.
I got it. Okay. Well, we just gonna go right on into Gail.
waiting on Gail.
Because there's been a lot of invasion going on with this situation. So everybody knows like Gail Lewis is the wife to Harold Lewis, who is a very uh, well-off gentleman. He's been married clearly twice. He is currently in a relationship with his. I don't even want to say she's a side piece. Now she is his woman now because he is out. He can breathe, and he is over there with her. Right. So the truth is out, and he can live his truth. He did not want to get a divorce from his wife when she found out after calling to see if his plane had come in, and just too recently, she made a post on TikTok and she explained different things. And what we're going to talk about is what she explained about her husband. Now, I think people were really on Gail's side when she first came out with that first part because they was like, how can you do this? This is horrible. Look at the side piece. Look at her face when she walked up on him in the airport. And then Sabrina, who is the woman he's cheating with, Sabrina Hutton, she made a post saying that you can't talk about me. I'm paraphrasing. You can't talk about me because you did the same thing with his first wife. So then everybody jumped on the side piece bandwagon And then Gail came out and talked about it. So I think people have a lot of different views. I have a different view, but I sent you all both the video so we can just get into it. And I think everybody in the chat may have seen it also. Um, from someone who has been divorced, right? Now, Gail said that Harold and his first wife divorce took 10 months. That is like the speed of light. My divorce took 3 years. I was dating within 2 years of going through my divorce. So whoever he was, is he a side piece? Is that what you're saying? Because you can't just, I don't think you would just put your life on hold. When my ex-husband, when our divorce was final, he got married 2 months later. So I don't look at her as being the side piece. I look at her as being who he moved on his life with. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all divorce took 3 years, you said. Okay.
Okay.
So it took 3 years. Wait a minute, let me finish. Let me get it out first, because I really want to talk about this part. Our divorce took 3 years. When it was final, 2 months after that, he got married.
Okay.
So what Gail was saying that, she said, that's my bad. I should have waited till the divorce was final before I started dating him. But that would say that my ex-husband walked out of that mediation after signing those papers, went to the gas station, Walmart, wherever, and met her, dated, courted, fell in love, and got married in 2 months.
But he didn't do that though, right?
No, he was in a relationship.
Right.
I don't view his wife as a side piece.
No, I don't think you should. I don't think you should.
And see, that's what I was saying. Like for people who felt like Gail was a side piece, like Gail saying,
yeah. There's a caveat in my opinion to that,
okay,
but I want to. There's a caveat in my opinion.
Come on, Fly Aunt.
I'm listening.
So listen. In the Fly Auntie's opinion,
okay,
it's a lot. It's stuff that's in that milk that ain't clean. Okay,
and milk ain't white.
Right. However, the side piece, she wrong. There's nothing to give her.
Let's
give her a pass on that, right? Let's just talk. We're just gonna talk about Gail. We're just talking about Gail and her bubble right now, 10 months. And these are the red flags that were raised when I saw her story, right?
Okay.
You know he's married. Mm-hmm. You're in conversations and you're talking to a married man that you know has expressed interest in you romantically, right? Because
wait a minute, but when she was introduced, she was told he wasn't married.
Okay, I'll give her half a credit.
Pass from me for that one. Nope. Go ahead.
She can get half a credit, but this is the part though. She knew eventually. She knew he was married because she said she would speak to him about staying in his situation. In addition, he tried to prove his affection for her by buying her diamond earrings.
Okay, I get that.
No, you don't.
No. I don't think you understand what I'm saying. Just
okay.
Like right now, Diz is married, right? He's married. He has a ring on and everything.
No. I'm not comparing your situation to her situation. I'm not doing that.
I'm talking about Diz. He's married. He has a ring on. If he takes his ring off right now and he goes to the bar tonight, and let's say he's not trying to do anything, but there's a lady that sits next to him, and he starts talking to her with no ring on. Mm-hmm. That girl, if what she said was when I was introduced, he said he wasn't married, but I later on found out. I'm starting at the beginning. So I think people just went from when they heard that he was married, they went from the beginning. They didn't hear her say, "Oh, when I was introduced, he wasn't married." That's anybody.
But listen,
that could be you. That could be me.
I understand. Listen, I want you to understand. I understand that, but there's always a role as women we have to play, and this is a broader perspective. And this is why men are able to have multiple women, because the boundary level is not properly assessed, and you want to pick and choose what you're gonna roll with. When you found out the man was married, you
Okay.
should have left him alone. You're talking about, because you have to be accountable for your own actions.
I
When
agree
you
with you.
found out, what did you do? That's my point.
Okay, I
He
will say
still
this. This is
stayed
what
with
she
it.
said.
And let's not, I'm very passionate about these subjects. Harold was tricking off money. If
Yeah.
he's giving out
Come on
diamond
now.
earrings to prove his affection, Harold was giving up some coin.
Now I do agree with you in this. If when she met him and he said he wasn't married, that's not her fault. But
Right.
once she found out,
Right.
she had a decision to make.
All
She
Right.
right. So
continued
I
to
didn't let
have
the
a
two of
conversation.
y'all. I
No,
didn't let the two of y'all
I'm
jump
gonna
on
let you
me.
go. Let me finish this. She continued to have a conversation with him for 3 months. Now I'm with you right there, Ebony, because that's where she should have cut that off.
No,
If you know what Ebony's talking about boundaries, you know
no.
I don't want to talk to you if you're married, and then you ask me out on a date and I find out you're married. I mean, after I finish my meal, you're not gonna talk to me anymore.
Oh, after you finish the meal. All right. So look here. First of all, you can't compare his divorce situation with yours, and let me explain to you how they're two different situations. There have been some court dates established with your situation. With his, there were no court date situations. As a matter of fact, she said, and I quote, well, first of all, let's go back to the when he was introduced to me, I was told he wasn't married.
Yeah.
Okay, so you all didn't have no conversation? Because I've had, before I got married, I've had women that were introduced to me, and somewhere throughout the conversation, they always slip in there. So you single, right? So assuming that she didn't do that, so why didn't you do that? You just gonna take a third party's word that this man is single, right?
I
That's
mean,
number one.
she said she found out when they went out. So
Hold on. Okay, so now let's move to the point where she said that she found out he was married. She continued to have these conversations. She continued to accept gifts from this dude. Okay, so now you're leaving the door open because you're accepting my gifts. And this dude is papered up, so they wasn't no cheap gifts. All right. So let's move on to when she went on the trip. Where'd they go? Aruba or something like
New
that?
York, New Orleans.
New Orleans. And she said she found out he was married again, right? Okay,
No,
so
she found out that he did not file
that
for
he
divorce
okay,
like he
but
said he would.
he didn't file for divorce. But what did she say before they went? But before she went on the trip, after I knew that he had filed for divorce, those were her words in the video. After
Yeah.
I knew he had filed for divorce, but then while you were on the trip, you say you found out that he hadn't actually filed. So did you know that he had filed for divorce
Okay,
before the
let me
trip or
stop you
not?
here.
She
Wait a minute.
simply
Let me
wanted to
stop
go on the
you.
damn
Let me
trip.
stop you right here because this is my wheelhouse. Let me explain that to you as a divorced person. If I don't think anything is wrong, if I would say this, if you have intentions on getting a divorce, if you know it's over, ain't no coming back from it, it is what it is. You can move on with your life at that point. People date, people do everything after that. Period.
Okay, and that's
Wait a
how.
minute. Now, when she was in the hotel room, she said that the conversation that he was having with his wife let her know that he had not done that.
You
So
are
she said,
missing
"You
the
lied
point.
to me."
You
That
are
should have been
missing.
it.
You are missing the point.
I don't think
She
so.
said out of her mouth, she knew, I knew he had filed for divorce until I knew he had
Mhm.
filed for divorce. That the implication is she knew that he was getting a divorce. He wasn't at the time.
But she
Why don't
knew
my
because that's what he told her. I know.
okay?
I mean, now I would have asked for some paperwork. I would have asked for some
It don't
paperwork.
matter. It don't matter. She knew what she wanted to know. That's the
Oh
point.
God.
And what I want her to say is that I just did what I wanted to do. Just say that. Just say I
No,
wanted to give.
she just what?
Nah. Just say I wanted to give. Just say I wanted to trip. Just say that. Because all this trying to come off like a victim ain't working for me.
Okay, let me
Because
ask you this.
this is the
Let me
same.
ask you
No,
this. Let me ask you
hold
this.
on.
Let's
Go
say
ahead.
right now, you're going through a divorce, right? You filed for divorce. You and your wife filed for divorce. Y'all have separated, moved out. It's divorce time, right? So let's say some is sent to you. This is six. Now we're going on 6 months. Now we're going on a year. Now you're not doing anything because you're going through a divorce. In year two and a half, you was like, I kind of want to. I saw this lady I want to talk to, but I'm going through a divorce. What you gonna do? You don't even know
Well,
when
I
the
don't
divorce
think
is
this
gonna
is
be
the
over.
same thing.
That's not the same thing. What you're saying, because
Yeah.
I am active. According to your scenario, I'm actively going through a divorce.
Right.
In
Yeah,
Right.
his scenario, no, in his scenario, he was not.
but
Right.
she didn't know that until she got to New
But
Orleans.
again, then maybe she should have sat her hot ass down and waited. But no, she wanted the gifts. And this is the same thing I tell dudes, right? This is the same thing I tell dudes. Yo, just say what, like, when you get caught in an infidelity situation, just be honest. Just say, yo, don't say, well, she wasn't doing what I wanted to do. Man, she wasn't there for me. You know what? Just say this. I saw Shorty, she was bad, and I wanted to do X, Y. I don't want to do what I want to do. Because
Okay.
that's basically what she wanted to do. She wanted the gift. She was feeling that. She maybe wanted that trip to New Orleans. It was probably Mardi Gras. She wanted that. Just say that. Don't give me no excuses. Just say you did what you wanted to do and it was what it was. Because she also said in her video that he wasn't even her type.
Yeah, she did say that.
She called fam morbidly.
She said
Morbidly obese.
She
And
said
if I
he was
show you a picture of him, you would see why. He was not
If
even
I had
attractive.
$1 for every woman that I know that was dating or married a dude that he wasn't really my type. Well, how the hell did y'all even get here?
Because this is the type.
Exactly, auntie. Exactly.
But she said, she said she was doing her thing. You know, she was right. She didn't need him for anything. She was raising her son. She was a single mom. I mean, she had a great job. She said she didn't need him for anything.
Can I say
women
something?
that don't need you want you. They want
Can
to
I
be
say
taken.
something?
Every woman want to be taken care of. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead, E.
Baby, when you spend somebody else's money, the purchase is always sweeter, baby.
She ain't lying.
No, I know she's not lying.
I mean, listen, I have a lucrative career, but baby, when the Cash App coins come from somebody else, when I swipe that card, it feels, ooh.
Yes, my thing is this, and neither one of you all have ever dealt with this. Ebony hasn't, and Deron is currently married, so you haven't dealt with that. I'm just saying from my experience, and this is my experience.
Don't be putting my business out there. It might be a Gail in the audience.
Oh my God. Okay.
But I think this is what means.
Wait a minute, people. This is not what I call this meeting right here. That's not what I call this meeting for. I'm not trying to, it's not no third party situation. So hold on. Keep that to yourself, player. But listen, this is my thing. And I need y'all to listen to it from this standpoint, right? Because you don't know. Neither one of you know. When I went through the divorce, I didn't want to talk to anybody. When you go through something and you leave, you like, I'm done. But it comes a moment, like you're out and somebody says, let me buy you a drink. Like, okay, you might have a conversation going through a divorce. And then you say, well, I'll call you sometime. And that can lead to another date as you're going through a divorce. But
that's fine.
But you have to be honest about it straight up. I didn't say I'm not going through a divorce. I didn't say I wasn't married. I was like, I'm going through a divorce right now and I'm not looking for anything serious.
But I think this is the point, right? You are actively in the divorce process.
Right.
Actively.
Right.
File court dates, as Coach Diz mentioned.
Right.
This man was just selling wolf tickets.
Okay, if he was selling wolf tickets, and if he if you meet a man, Ebony, and he says, I'm going through a divorce, right? So at that moment, you can make a decision, be like, you know what? Show me the paperwork.
Okay, so if a man come to me, right, and he says he's going through a divorce, those are the questions. Do you have paperwork? Are you legally separated? And then me, I love to research. I'm going to go to my state or wherever you say your divorce is pending, and I'm going to go look up that. I'm going to look up that information.
They can easily be found.
Yeah, you can look up that information. But I want to circle back to something else in regards to her video. Okay. In the video, y'all can correct me too. She also said, I assume, right, how she found out, because this man felt comfortable enough to boast his chest out and to take a phone call from his wife while they were out of town or
Because
together.
he had to. Because he had to. Because
Right.
it's his wife.
So that is how she came to find out. I don't really know.
Because if you going through a divorce, I ain't got to take this call.
Right.
Right. But let me say this, and I'm gonna get back on y'all train real quick. Okay.
No. You ain't got to get on the train.
No,
good.
I
Stay
can get
over
on
there.
it when I get ready. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. When he answered that phone and how she said the conversation was going, and she said, "You lied to me. You told me you was going through a divorce." And he said, "Yeah, we talked about it, but when I get back home, I'm going to file." In my mind, that was the end of that situation, period. Get me back home.
Mhm.
Don't call me no more, because that was the first red flag. You are a liar. First of all, you are a cheater, and now you are a liar on top of all that, and I'm witnessing it. So
Yeah.
I feel like Gail could have just not had this happen anyway. If when they left New Orleans, she should have been done with him. Yes.
Well,
Another red flag for me in the conversation. They've been married 30 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
She says she's never had a conversation with this woman.
Right. Other than picking up the kids.
Right. She's never had it. How are you? And you guys, maybe you guys can, tell me this too. How can you be in marriage matrimony with somebody for 30 years and you're helping raise their children and you've never talked to that parent?
It's impossible.
That doesn't seem a little.
Okay, let me speak on it. Let me speak on it, because it's impossible. I know it's impossible.
Okay.
Although for me, I streamline it and do the best I can to have the least amount of alphabets to come out of my mouth to form sentences. But sometimes you have to have a conversation. I don't, she said we talked when he dropped the kids off. Now it could be a situation where it's just that you bring the kids to the house and take the kids back, right? But sometimes you got to go to a game and you got to say, "Excuse me," or you just feel nice that day and say, "How's your day going?" Sometimes it's not a lot of conversation. I'm just saying for me. Eventually, I get to talking. Sometimes I get in the mood and I'll talk. But then
does anyone know how old the kids were when the kids from the prior marriage were when they got into that relationship?
Clearly they were like in, I don't know how old the children were, but she had a
They were
child.
young enough to need co-parenting.
Yeah, they were young enough to do that, to drop off.
I just don't see myself, just throwing out a number, say the kids are 8 or 9 and not having any kind of like some kind of parenting involved relationship with the other woman. For me, that's what I would desire. If I'm in a relationship with somebody and they have young kids or something like that, we all got to be best of friends.
But then sometimes it's no, you don't.
I don't think that's a realistic expectation.
Oh no, you do not.
You have people that ain't able to operate in that space.
No, like if you can't receive that, that's okay, right? If you can't receive it, I'm not gonna force it on you. But I feel as though, like for me, like if somebody is gonna be around my child, whatever amount of time, I need to know something about you. We had to have a conversation. Maybe we're not best friends, but I got to be able to know, like, if there's something going on, I can pick up the phone and we can try to figure everything out. That's what I mean.
But it's limited conversation, right? Like I deal with the dad. That's who I deal with.
That's who you need. That's who you're supposed to deal with.
That's all I need to. Now, if I have to deal with anything else, then it's like, let's get to the point. I'm not in here to ask you what you watched on TV last night. I'm not about to ask you, did you see my review? What's up? And I'm out.
Okay.
I don't have time. And here's the thing. People can make it like that. I didn't go into it like that. I went into it like, oh my God, I'm so happy that this situation exists. So my daughter has someone to identify with. Yeah, to identify with when I'm not there. So I was very happy. But there were situations that happened that caused my heart to harden, and I had to act a different way.
Act a
Now,
fool a little bit.
as the years have gone by,
They
I've
realize that you will
softened.
bow up.
I've softened a lot.
Okay.
I've softened a lot. So yeah, I'll just say I've softened, and I can have a conversation when I want to, and that's simply when I want to. If I don't want to talk, I don't talk. Period. I don't care
So,
what you got going on.
Yes, ma'am.
so here's the situation as like it kind of ties into what we talked about earlier, right? You
Uh
have the whole communication aspect. Now, here's the reality of it, and we've talked about this before. I've talked about this on other shows with other people. I've talked about it on some of my videos. If you're going through a divorce or a bad breakup, why are you why are you in such a hurry to run into another relationship? You're not mentally in a space
right,
to accept another person because
right,
you are not you. You're broken, right? You're broken. And once you get fixed, that person is not going to recognize you. And so, I mean, so if you meet somebody and you're going through a divorce, then she should have given him space. When he said, well, I'm going through a divorce. All right, well, you know what? We can go hang out. We can have some drinks or whatever, but that's it, player. You know, these gifts, I appreciate it. Don't send me nothing else.
right.
You know what? Let's go to New Orleans. No, I'm not going on a trip with you because you need to get you together.
Yeah.
Now
You
that's
need
I
to get
agree,
you together.
hundred
You know what I'm
percent.
saying? That's what he should have said. That's what anybody, because although I've never been divorced, I can imagine that it's going, excuse the lingo, it's going to fuck you up a little bit, right? So you're not in a headspace to deal with somebody else. So do yourself a favor and don't do that. And look, all he's doing is repeating who he was because I'm pretty sure this ain't the first time. This is the first time he got caught in 30 years. He's just repeating who he is.
I think no,
That's
his first
hot.
wife
But people
knew
said
it.
the same thing.
No, his first wife knew who he was because he told Gail. Gail said that he told her that she was dealing with postpartum and depression, but he was at the hospital. She was at the hospital all the time, but she said she would go to the hospital
Because she
and
was tired of him giving us stuff.
because she was trying to give stuff. So she knew who her husband was. She knew he had been cheating. So
I'm
I don't
talking
know.
about Gail. I'm talking about
Oh,
Gail.
oh,
Like when he was like, I'm going through a divorce,
oh
you
yeah.
know, she
She
should
should
have
have
been
left
like,
him
all right,
alone.
player, well, you know
Yeah.
what? You know, we can be friends, but I'm good over here because
Right.
right now mentally you're not in a space to receive me.
Right. And like she said, I think here for her, he said he never intended on going through a divorce from his first wife if Gail hadn't told him that's the only way she was gonna talk to him.
And anybody you got to give an ultimatum to, keep your words to yourself,
Keep it to
save
yourself.
your breath, because I can't. I put it like this: I haven't met anybody. I have a couple members on my family who will remain nameless, but I have friends and associates. Every time an ultimatum is placed on the table, it don't work out.
It doesn't work out.
Very true.
And then like side note, like women proposing to men, if he does not think enough of you to go and get you a ring from Walmart and ask you to be his wife, leave it alone because he don't want it. You can't make a
Man,
man.
look,
You don't want to
man,
make a
look,
man
look.
do anything like
People
that.
spend more money on wedding rings and the wedding than they do on the life, right?
Heck
My
yeah.
wife's first wedding ring, I'm telling you, we could have balled that joint up and made paper and did paper mache with it. It was so cheap. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
But that's not what it's about.
that's not what it's about. And
Yeah.
anybody that says that they waiting, you like, you know what? I want to ask you to marry me, but I'm just waiting. What you waiting on, player? Because
What you waiting on?
in all actuality, you don't even need no rings. Take your ass down there to the justice of the peace.
No, I'm gonna need a ring. I'll go to the courthouse, but I'm gonna need a ring.
But I mean, I think to add to your point, a lot of people want the wedding and not the marriage. Their focus is the wedding and not the marriage.
Yeah.
Because the marriage, the wedding is not the end. Shouldn't be the end goal, but for a lot of people
Right.
it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's the work that goes in after the wedding that a lot of people be like, man, I didn't know it's gonna. I can't tell you how many people I've heard say, man, I didn't know it was gonna be like this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, player, it's a little work.
It's a lot
That's
of
why I
work.
think marriage counseling is important.
In the beginning, the middle, and all the way to the end.
all the way
all the
till
way
you
to the
putting
end.
some, all the way till you throwing dirt on somebody. Yeah.
Because I think I think therapy is important to relationships because, like I said earlier, you're forever changing. If you have somebody say, "Well, she's doing different now. She's staying up later. She's not as active." Okay, we need to talk about it. What is she trying to do? Can you support her until she gets where it is that she's trying to go?
There's
Like
that
you
word
need
again,
therapy
support.
through, yeah, you need therapy throughout,
Yeah.
throughout.
Yeah. But I mean, hey, I mean, good old Gail. I mean, she sparked a little conversation today. I tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that people just don't. I feel like, I mean, I'm not saying I am Team Gail 100%, 100% I'm Team Gail, but it wouldn't have to be a Team Gail because she had a moment when she could have did it, all of this. When she found out on that dinner date that he was married, that should have been the end of that.
Actually, I'm not. I'm neutral. I could care less about either side, because there's enough culpability to go around for both sides. Here's what I say. The communication thing that we talked about earlier. The reality, if he was honest as hell, right? He was honest as hell
Yep.
when he said, "I ain't getting no divorce because I ain't messing up my money." That's about as honest. You can't be no more honest than that.
You can't.
If he would turn around and say, "Look, I love my wife," if he turned around and said, "I love my wife," but you know what? There's a thing called polyamory that I'm kind of that because that's basically what he's doing, right? And he's like, now we would look at him sideways as a society. We would look at him and say, "Man, you crazy as hell.
Because
Ain't
he
nobody
told
doing that."
her, because he told her he was going to give her 3 to 6 months, and if she found somebody, it would be okay. So yeah.
See what I'm saying? So if
Did you not hear that? Did you not hear that, Ebony? He
Wow.
told her that after he came clean in the first set of videos, he said, "I'm going to go away for 3 to 6 months so you can have time to get it together." She was like, "Why do I need time?" He said, "Whatever." And then he said, "If you meet someone in those 3 to 6 months, I'll understand." And she said at that moment she knew he did not care anything about her or their marriage.
And now
But he's gone though at this
why
point.
is it that he's offering you an option and he doesn't care? See, you see how okay, so you say you want in relationships, we say we want the truth and we want to communicate. But if he's being truthful, if he lays that out to you, and then your automatic response based on the way we've been raised in
Mhm.
tradition, you say he don't care nothing about me or the marriage. That's not what he said. Those were not the words, or to quote the poet
Now, I believe he don't
Millichun,
care.
those were not the alphabets forming the words coming out of his mouth.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? That's not what he said. But I mean, and we got to think about what we're doing in a society, because here's the reality, and we're not to go down this rabbit hole too far, but we live in a society where we'll accept two men loving each other, we'll accept two women loving each other, we'll accept a woman identifying as a man, we'll accept a man identifying as a woman. But if a man says, "I love two women," we look at him crazy. If a woman says, "I love two men," we look at her crazy. Where's the difference? None of it is traditional. None of what I just laid out is traditional. However, the last two options I laid out, we look at people different. Now, I know people who actually live this life, right? Live that life.
Mhm.
And I like, hey man, if that's the lake you swimming in, knock yourself out. It is what it is, but too many people are feeling judged. So they do shit like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. I know we had the conversation. But they do things like what my man is doing, right? And now he damned if he do, he damned if he don't. Because if he expresses how he feels, then we say, well, he don't care nothing about his wife. But we just said the same thing about him cheating.
Well, I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit, right? If that's indeed he wants to move in a polyamory way, she could also feel like he didn't care enough to share that part of himself with her.
I give you that.
I don't think Harold wants to be in a polyamorous relationship. I think Harold wants to be with Sabrina right now because she's younger and he doesn't want to have to split his money. So he will continue to take care of his wife
And not
and,
only that,
and live
she
and
mentioned
not,
in the video she had high blood pressure. And I know with high blood pressure, you don't have the same libido that you used to have. So Sabrina's giving up her work, her, you know what she need to do because her name up and down that credit card bill. She's fulfilling those needs to make sure, you know what I'm saying, she taken care of. So that could
Shirley,
be it.
Shirley, you think I'm making excuses?
They could be in a sexless marriage. I don't know.
Shirley said you're making excuses for
Yeah,
it
I
too.
mean, I haven't made an excuse. All I've done was lay out facts, and you can do what you want to with that information.
Hmm.
Mm.
I mean, because here's the bottom line is that if we're going to classify him as a cheater, basically based on the information that Gail told us she had from that first relationship, she facilitated his cheating the first time around.
Ooh, okay.
She deemed it okay by her not cutting him off.
But
That
she didn't cut him
moment
off.
when
She
she
accepted
found
them
out,
gifts. She accepted them trips.
I,
So
I,
she's
I
a cheater
promise,
as well.
I promise. I feel if it had been me and I said, is he married? And they told me no, and then yes, I would have gone out. But if I go out and I find out you're married, that would have been it for me. Because if she literally said she didn't want to deal with an Al Bundy, married with kids,
Yeah.
if she's
Morbidly
not
obese.
more
She had
unattractive,
all these negative adjectives, but yet you're
unattractive,
here 30 years later.
but nice, unattractive but nice, I would have had to cut that off. First of all,
Okay, he's unattractive but nice. So
first of all,
not only are you helping him cheat, but you'll go there.
first of all, my shallow self at some point in time in my life, it'll be hard for you to get me out there. If you was unattractive, sir, you go. What do you want to do? Cut the grass? Because that is all we can do. Because how am I gonna go somewhere and sit and look in front of you and have a meal? That's crazy.
But that goes back to why she probably stayed, because she got some benefit out of it. Because he was nice.
It is. Because he was,
Yeah, she said he was nice.
let's call it like they call it in the streets. He was a trick.
Yeah.
He definitely was tricking.
Yeah.
He definitely was tricking.
And if he take them credit card numbers back from Sabrina, she may not be there either.
Yeah.
Part. Yeah.
Because if they get a
I love
divorce,
this right here,
he's gonna be entitled to what he's gonna be entitled to, and he ain't gonna be able to trick off the same.
Like what Mammy said, she said she's gonna bounce while she can, because holding on to hope is not good. And that's the thing. Sometimes women put themselves in these situations and then want to talk about how bad it is later. If you know from the jump that this is not what you want to deal with, on top of him being obese, on top of him being unattractive, and all he is nice, it's a lot of nice people in the world who are attractive. They may not be worth, some of them may not be worth nothing, but I mean, lie to me and look good for a minute until I catch on and I'm out. But I'm not about to be sitting here with this morbidly obese man who I don't find attractive.
But you know what?
And then married him for 28 years.
I've heard a lot of women talk about dudes being nice and I can change him. And as an adult, you should be trying to change children, not no man or no woman, because men do it too. But you shouldn't be trying to change no adult. I need to see who you are and then decide whether or not I can deal with who you are.
Right.
Really just that simple.
Yep. And I think women need to go into when they enter into relationships, can you deal with this person as they are today? A lot of us are looking for potential or buying the gift for the gab of what he's saying he's going to do this, that, and forward. And when those expectations are not met, we're highly disappointed. If you can't love who this person is right here, who it is today, I don't know what you're going to do.
Not only that, but that goes back to what we were talking about as far as change. Like when I talked about every 5 to 7 years, psychologically, something's going to happen. You're going to change. We're constantly evolving creatures, right? So that you need to accept who I am today. 3 to 5 years from now, we need to have a conversation. Maybe I think a little.
What's going on?
Can you deal with who I am today? No. Okay, then maybe we need to go ahead and discuss how we're gonna move forward.
Right.
But expecting me to be who I am today versus who I was 20, 30 years ago, come on. That's wrong on both of their parts.
That's what we talked about earlier, expectations in a relationship and not checking in. Because you have to check in your relationship. If a man is really loving his woman and he knows her, he knows when something is off. And we always know when something is off, because it's just gonna be off, right? Some are slow to do it, some just do it. But you need to check in. What's going on? Why are you doing this? Why are you feeling like this? I come home every day. This is not done. This is usually done every day since I've known you. Not checking in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Too many people have unrealistic expectations.
But there we go. We talked about that during the expectation part.
Too many people have unrealistic expectation when it comes to relationship. I think people should first learn how to be with them. 100%, Shirley.
Yeah.
100%.
Shirley preached right there.
Yes,
Because
because
it's too many people.
yes.
It's too many people who are not comfortable
Well,
with
I'm saying stop
themselves,
moving.
and that whole Jerry Maguire, "You complete me." I hate that line, and I hate. A lot of people love that line in the movie. I hated it because until you know who you are, you can't possibly add nothing to me.
That's right. Because I don't want to. I don't want to be in a situation where I am looking for pieces of myself in someone else,
Man,
trying to be completed. I don't
because
ever want to do that.
that whole 50-50 in relationships. No, 100 and 100. I need to be 100% me. You need to be 100% you. That way we can come together and we can blow shit up.
I'm gonna put this up here real quick. I need y'all to read it fast. I'm taking it right down. I love my man. I get it, man. 100%, 100%. But
So,
yes,
so you want to bust dude upside the dome?
I mean because
Are we choosing violence on this day?
because the thing is, it's a reason the show Snapped exists. It's a reason stuff like that happens. It's a reason 90% women are probably in prison. It's a reason.
Is it really that serious though?
Yes, it is that serious because the thing is this. What men really don't understand about women is when we enter into a relationship with you, we are entering into a relationship if you love him because of love, and this is the man I love and I want to be with. The only man, right? We don't even know that we possess the skills to fillet anybody. Like you don't even know that because it will come a point that a man, and I'm not saying you, a man can take you to something you don't even recognize yourself. And you didn't even know that was there. Because if you stay long enough trying to work it out, nothing is changing. Something is going to change. There's always a reaction for an action. Sometimes it's legal and sometimes it's not.
I mean, but well, first of all, we talked about representatives, whatever. We talked about going through a divorce and not being who you were and needing time to heal. There are times when you think you love someone when you really don't. You talked about, like, I watched you all's loving relationship with Alice, and she and talked about emotional. I can't think of the name, but basically being emotionally an emotional hostage to somebody in a relationship. I mean, these are all factors, right? So whereas a woman thinks that she loves someone, she's really like having what would equate to Stockholm syndrome because the dude was her savior in some
No,
way, shape, or
I'm
form,
talking
or
about.
fashion.
I'm not
No,
talking about
no,
that
no,
happens. I'm talking
no,
about real love for somebody. That's not all women.
no. I get it. I get what you're saying,
No,
but like
you can't
I'm
say that
talking about as it
because
relates. I'm talking about as it relates to Gail's situation, and then we're talking about the last comment where she was talking about going upside my man's head, and you were talking about this the reason why I snapped, and it's never that serious to want to have to harm somebody. It's like, yo, kick rocks.
sometimes women
Listen,
want
I
you to
think
hurt.
that's easier. I think that from your perspective, I I understand what you're saying, but there's a couple of things that factor into it, and I'm not trying to make an excuse for it because at the bottom line, nobody should get harmed because of those things.
No, we do
But
not
to a
condone violence.
degree, I understand it because people's feelings and emotions are a very serious thing.
They
Yep.
are.
And we all as humans have to have some kind of integrity about oneself when it comes to that. I
Mhm.
have to have the integrity to recognize and discernment to recognize when somebody playing with me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I gotta be accountable for that. The signs are there. he don't really want to be with me like that. He doing whatever he doing. I need to be accountable and walk away. I think that a lot of times, because we're talking about the women acting out, we're not talking about the men, because we know it does happen. But I think it's a point where as I'm just talking about me and just me holding myself accountable for my actions. Sometimes we have to know when to walk away. Stop saying, is it gonna be her or it's gonna be me? Why he need to choose? You need to choose you and remove yourself from the equation. That's all. That's what I've learned. That's what I've learned.
I agree.
And that only comes with my emotional maturity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I get both sides of the coin. Ebony not going out there and killing nobody, because I'm not built for the federal penitentiary. I'm not built for that. I'm trying to live my soft girl life, my soft life era, be pink and white, as we like to say on this channel. I'm not built for that. You know what I'm saying? So I know
that ain't your ministry.
Yeah, but I've also been in situations where I've done some unsavory things. I'm jumping up on the bed like King Kong and yelling and screaming because my feelings
that's what I'm talking
hurt.
about, Ebony. That's what I'm talking about. Like, that's not you. That's not how you've been. But the situation at hand has caused you to act out of character.
Right.
Now,
but I also have to say too that I have to be accountable for when I do, because these are my emotions and my actions, and I'm the only one that can control that too.
So here's the question then, Ebony. So here's the question. Once you jumped outside your body and had that out of body experience and jumped up on the bed and screamed, yelled, hollered, whatever, do you stay?
Right. I stay.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Now, once you choose to stay, effectively, you have chosen violence.
Yeah, you're right.
Over your own mental sanity, right? Your
you're
own
right.
mental health.
Right.
Because the reality of it is that if I can get you outside your body once, I'll do it again. I'll do it a third time. So, and the more you stay, the more in my mind, I'm going to say, she ain't going nowhere.
Right. And then I've also been conditioned in a way, because I'm used to doing this now. I'm going to get mad. I'm going to get upset. I'm going to get my emotions out. He's going to try to make up. We're going to be good for a couple months and it's going to happen again.
Right. Once you
yeah, that's where you gotta go. Like, it's something like, but why don't you leave? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is it that makes you just?
Because you're so at that time for me, I'll just be vulnerable, right? At that time for me, I was more committed to making what I thought my family dynamic should be work than I was making sure that I was mentally okay.
Okay. You preaching. Okay. So like,
all right, I'm with you on that.
Now check.
And that's you trying to hope that he will change. And
that's the hope, and a small part of that was holding on to who he was in the beginning. Yeah. And hoping that he would see
and my expectations.
Oh my God.
Hoping that he would see you act a fool and revert back to who he was and not continue showing you who he is.
Yeah.
I agree with you so much, Miss Queen.
Yeah.
Sometimes
look at my mama.
That is crazy. And it is crazy. And Ebony, I'm glad you said that. You spoke your truth, because that ties into what we talked about earlier, the expectations and all that. And then we talked about it, trying to change someone. You can't do that. But like, at what point did you realize that you had to cut that off?
I think for me, and I'm gonna shamelessly plug my recent episode of Conversations with the Fly on about singlehood. So I touch on this. So for me, it came to once I became emotionally regulated within myself, right? Gotta control on not reacting and doing all of those things. I had to say to myself, is this what you want to do for the next 10 to 15 years?
Okay.
Because I've already have a certain amount of years behind me, right? So is this what I want to continue to do? And the answer was no. A lot of people stay in relationships because they fear whatever they fear is on the other side of not being with this person.
Yeah.
But I was unhappy And
Mm-hmm.
I said, what am I afraid to be, happy? Is that what I'm doing to myself? Because I'm very much not in a good place and I'm not happy in this relationship. So what am I staying for?
Just
The
in a
kids are
relationship to be
older.
in a
I came to the
relationship.
understanding that your children would prefer to see two happy parents
Yep.
separated
Yep.
versus two unhappy parents and the house is in
Sure.
turmoil
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah.
You
And
So
know,
I think it's good.
once I came down and got logical about start not getting out my feelings and getting
mhm.
in my facts and in my head, that's when a change occurred for me. And I'm in addition, I'm not bashing or about my previous relationship. I'm actually very grateful and I have an attitude of gratitude that all that I went through wasn't fun, it wasn't a game, but it propelled me to do the things that I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
So I just say you got to start asking yourself some real questions.
Hard
Real
questions that you
questions.
may not
Yeah.
want to answer.
Yeah. You have to ask yourself some real questions
And I don't
and
think a lot of
be
people are
truthful with
just
yourself because a lot of us lie to ourselves too.
Man,
absolutely.
come on now.
Absolutely,
I
we're not
I
ourselves.
told you you was gonna be agreeing with me a lot during this show, Friday. I told you. I told you.
But she's right though, and I think that's a lot of us. We do that. We already
Yeah.
know the answer. We knew the answer before the question came.
Yeah.
Right?
You know what's funny is that you hear me say a lot that words matter, right?
Yep.
Now, because of my previous occupation, I I've developed an ability to read people through what they say and what I see them do, right? So I tell people all the time, if I ask you a question, the first words out of your mouth tell me, give me the answer. All that other stuff is gonna be rhetoric. Case in
Hmm.
point, there was a show you review Caught in the Act, so you know exactly what episode
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to. When this girl was talking about, she thought that the dude was cheating on her, and Tammy was like, "Well, what is it about him?" Blah blah blah. She was like, "Well, he invested in my studio and he paid for me to go through school." Everything she mentioned was financial.
Yep.
And then when Tammy called her out on it, she's like, "Oh no, I mean, I love him." No, that you grew to love him because he was throwing them dollars at you.
Yeah. Yeah.
She fell
That's
in love
what
with his hand
that's
and not his
that's
heart.
what that's
Tammy said
what
his
that's
pocket.
what got you. That's what got you there through them 17 years. And it goes to, like, because I would have, you know, indirect kind of, like, I survey people whether they know it or not just through conversation. And
Hmm.
so when you meet a dude and he be like, "Man, I ain't never cheated on my woman," you be like, "How?" They're like, "Why don't you talk to me about that? Expound on that." And he'd be like, "Man, I can't afford to cheat on my woman, man. Blah blah blah. And if she caught me, she do this that." So basically, what you're telling me is that if you could do it and get away with it, you would. That's what I'm hearing, because you didn't say you loved her. You didn't say I don't cheat on my woman because I love her. You
Yeah, I see what you're
said
saying.
I can't afford to. If
I
she
can afford
caught
to.
me, it was all about the consequences. Now,
Yeah.
flip that. When you talk to a woman who ain't never cheated on a man, you say, "Well, why don't you talk to me about that?" I love my man. My blah, blah, blah. The first thing out of 9 out of 10 of them mouth is
Yeah.
gonna be
I
love,
love
or
him. I
some type
love
Yeah.
of
him. Yeah.
affection, right?
Yeah.
So it is totally different. And the first words out, we need to start listening to the first words that come out of people's mouths when we ask them questions and have conversations, because they're telling you the truth. Because
Yep.
that's the first thing, your frontal lobe, that's the first thing out your mouth. Now, everything else to cover that up, okay, that comes behind that, it might be a little ice, it might be a little fodder, you
Okay.
know.
Okay. I receive that. I think that makes sense. Here for
Because when
Tia
people
agrees
start,
with you.
because when people start giving you excuses, well, what I meant was, no, I don't need you to correct
No,
that.
you said what you
I heard you the
said.
first time. I heard you
Yeah,
the
you
first
said
time.
what
Yeah,
you
for
said.
sure. For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. For sure.
Well, let me ask y'all this: since we're here, who do you think cheats? If there's cheating, do you think men cheat more, or do you think women cheat better? I think that's a question everybody has asked before.
Statistically speaking, women cheat more because of the numbers. There are more women than men.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay. So I mean we can get off. I mean, if we're not going to look at it emotionally and look at it like male versus female. Women cheat more because there are more women than men, right? That's just how it is. However, who cheats better? Women. Women cheat better because dudes are too spontaneous. We'll see a woman and one night stand to jump off and because we thought with the little head instead of the big one. You know, women don't like what I say earlier. When a woman decides to cheat, she didn't put some thought into it. That means she didn't brought in a couple girlfriends. You know what I'm saying?
There's been a
Like
meeting, huh?
the whole they didn't had a meeting. You know that she like, girl, look, if he call you, this is where I'm at. I'm with you. And if I'm not with you, then you get her to call you and y'all didn't put the things up on the dry erase board. You know, y'all done mapped out the plays, and then y'all done hit the hands in the middle of the circle. Okay, cheat on three. 1, 2, 3, we out. You know what I'm saying? Women plan it out. Women get real thorough. You know
I
what I'm
just,
saying?
I just wish it was like I just know that if people were doing it like when I was growing up, and I realize now that it was a lot of that going on, there was never. I mean, we didn't have social media and stuff like that, but there was never any noise about somebody doing this. It may have been a baby that had popped up. We didn't know where the baby had come from, but it wasn't anybody calling anybody's phone talking about put him on the telephone. It's just so disrespectful. I hate that. I hate that for women who have to deal with that. Um, I wish people would go to therapy more. I wish they would really value their relationships. I just hate that that happens, but it happens.
We also
Um,
need to be honest with what cheating is, because too many people make excuses for what cheating is. Like you have some men that'll say that they don't cheat because they pay women for sex. You have some women that say they don't cheat because the sex wasn't good. Like I've had women honestly say, "Well, and then in future conversation, you'd be like, wait, I thought you said that," and she said, "Oh, that don't count." Oh no, it counts. Oh no, it
oh,
counts. Yeah.
oh well. Well, y'all, this has been delightful.
See,
I have really,
fly auntie, I told you we was gonna be rocking today. I told you that.
yeah. Ebony has, like Ebony's viewpoint is. I love her viewpoint because it comes from a place of what she's gone through,
Hmm.
and things that she's learned. So I always love to hear Ebony's viewpoint. I agree with you pretty much like 99% of the time, for real. But this has been wonderful, and I hope y'all. But you just that man. What you talking about? What you saying? She said, but you just gave that man an excuse. Oh, me an excuse. Um, this has been wonderful. I really enjoyed this conversation, and uh, I hope people found out some things about themselves. So, wait a minute. It was great. It was really great, and I really want to thank Ebony once again. Ebony is always a joy to speak with, and the introduction of Coach Diz. Let them know where they can follow you, so they can hear everything that you have to say.
I mean,
So we have my podcast, Conversations with the Fly, on Spotify, Apple. You can find me on iHeartRadio and Spreaker. And then the visuals of the podcast can be found on YouTube. And you can find me at The Fly Aunt. I have an episode recently on singlehood. It's my little baby where I go into some of this stuff that we kind of touched on in a bit in detail. So I would love to have you and engage with me on my social media platforms as well. The Fly on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube.
Okay, Coach
okay.
Diz.
Well, I can be found on TikTok and Instagram. That got this. It's real simple. I just got on YouTube, basically at somebody's unctioning, telling me that I should. They would remain nameless, Millichun. But just
Should.
type in Coach Diz. It's that Diz Biz, and I coach from a place of experience. So basically, I mean, yeah, I'm a certified life and executive coach, but I coach from a place of experience. So we deal with a lot of, so I deal with a lot of real subjects, and yeah, so it's some of it is uplifting, and some of it is going to be in your face, but it's all going to be on a journey, and it's all about being better, just being better people, because I love my people.
Well, I really thank you all for being here today. And thank you, chat, for being here. Here for High Tea, she stayed a long time. May, you were great. Thank you, Miss Quinn, for coming. Um, who was that? It was somebody else. I had to put somebody in timeout. Shirley, thank you for being here. Thank you, Germany, for listening all the way from Germany. I appreciate that.
All right now.
Yvonne, thank you, Yvonne. Rolanda, thank you.
Real quick plug. So also musically, I can be heard on Simple. Download the Simple Radio app. Go to rhythmflightradio.com. On Thursdays, we take that grown and sexy trip down Lover's Lane. We do a little show called Rhythm Ride After Dark. It's all about love. And on Saturdays, if old school hip hop and R&B is your thing, we do the same things, 8 to 10 p.m. Central on Thursdays and Saturday nights. Come ride with your man.
Thank you, Stephanie. Bianca, thank you. And who, Mac Jones, I appreciate you for being here. Overcome, I am six. Aku and Tamara, she was the first. Tamara, she was the first one here. So, like, I want to thank you all so much. I appreciate you being here. I'll cut some of this up and post it around. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And it's your girl Millichun, and we are out of here. Y'all have a great Saturday.
Bye.
Bye.